Hey there! Over the past 2 videos in the series, I've covered the fundamentals of Unity's input system and showed you how to create your own input action assets. This time, we're making things a bit safer to use by generating a code wrapper for the asset. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I highly recommend you do because this one builds directly on what we've covered so far. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications. It really helps. And now, buckle up. Here's a quick recap of what my setup looks like. I have a custom input action asset that has one action map and 3 actions inside it. Move, which is controlled with WASD and the arrow keys, jump, which is triggered when we press the spacebar, and fly, which is triggered when we press and hold the spacebar. In terms of code, I am working with an isolated class that handles only input. It holds a reference to the movement handler, which is responsible for all of the locomotion and animations, a reference to the input action asset, and 3 references to the 3 actions I have. During awake, I subscribe to the events of those actions, and I unsubscribe during onDestroy. Additionally, I enable and disable the asset during onEnable and onDisable. Lastly, the event callbacks. During each one of those, I just update the movement handler with the relevant input data. While this code works, there are a couple of things that bother me. For example, those references to the asset and to the actions. There's no guarantee that the referenced actions are part of the referenced asset. I mean, I can use string lookup. I can search for an action map and then inside it search for a specific action. I actually explained this in the first video in the series. But then again, we'll have to deal with strings, and nobody can guarantee that they will remain the same. It's easily breakable code. Thankfully, there's a way around it. When I select the input action asset in the project window, inside the inspector there's this little Generate C# class checkbox. Pressing on it will show you 3 more fields: a file name, a class name, and a namespace for the generated file. While you can leave them with the default values, I do recommend treating it as any other code in your codebase. So I'll choose a directory with my other code, a class name, vampire input, and the same namespace I have for classes in this directory. Lastly, I need to hit apply and wait for the compilation process to finish. From now on, every time I make changes and save this input action asset, the C# class will be regenerated. Something important to take into account. If in the future you decide to change the file name, Unity won't delete the old file. You'll have to delete it yourself. Now take a look at the generated class. It's a huge wrapper for everything I've done so far. And the bigger the configuration, the bigger this file will be. But it really shouldn't bother anyone. This class is auto-generated boilerplate code and shouldn't be altered manually. Ever. If you want to expand it, this class is actually partial, so it's possible without modifying this particular file. The generated class also has amazing XML documentation. It's really useful, and when in doubt, I suggest taking a look at it. By the way, notice that this class is not a monobehavior and can be created with a constructor. Also note that it has a slight overhead during construction. When we call the constructor, it actually creates the input action asset from scratch, and it does so by converting JSON to an asset. Technically, after generating the code, you can delete the asset and the generated file will continue to function, because all the parameters of the asset are described in this JSON here. Then there's a little overhead to find all action maps and actions, but from this point forward, all of them are cached and reused. Another important thing happens inside the dispose method. It's the destruction of the created asset. So it's really important to dispose of this object in order to avoid memory leaks. Let's see how we can use it. First things first. Now I can get rid of the input action asset related serialized fields, and instead I'll create a field for the vampire input class I generated from the input action asset. Then I'll initialize it in the awake method. Now let's take a look at what this wrapper class allows us to do. First of all, it has a property for every action map inside. In my case, it's only one map called main, but if I had more, I would see them all here. Next, inside the main action map, I actually have a reference for every action: move, fly, jump. Let's fix all the compilation errors by replacing the deleted references with actions from the wrapper class. I'll do it for the event subscriptions in the awake method and for the event unsubscriptions in the onDestroy method. And instead of enabling or disabling an asset, I can call enable and disable method on the wrapper class directly. Lastly, in onDestroy, I need to dispose of the wrapper class in order to avoid memory leaks. And that's it. The setup just became a lot easier and safer, and I can dive straight into play mode to test it. My vampire can run, jump, and fly, no problems at all. But there's actually another approach to handling actions with generated script. Let's take a look at this code here. All the subscriptions and unsubscriptions. If only there was a way to remove all this boilerplate. Well, there is one actually. So let's delete all of this, both from the awake and from the onDestroy methods. Let's also get rid of the old callbacks, we don't need them anymore. The thing is, along with the wrapper class, Unity generated an interface for each action map that is nested under the wrapper class. And this interface has a method for every action in the map. What I can do is implement this interface in my input controller class. It's vampireinput.IMainActions. The pattern here is I for interface, followed by the action map name, main in my case, and suffixed with the word actions. When I implement it, it generates 3 methods for me, one for each action I have. Now I need to implement those methods, and it's pretty easy. For movement, I'll set the movement input of my movement handler to whatever value I have in the context at this moment. So regardless of what event happened, performed, started, or cancelled, the vector2 value will always be the one I need. In the jump callback, I'll invoke the setJumpInput method, but this time I need to make sure the action is performed. For each action event, the context has a Boolean property, so if the action is performed, I'm setting true, and if not, false. And I'll do the same for the fly callback. The last thing I need to do is register for those callbacks. I can do it in the awake method. The action map has a method called addCallbacks, which expects an instance of the IMainActions interface. So I can pass this as a parameter. And where there's a subscription, there's an unsubscription. So in onDestroy, before I dispose of the input, I'll remove this class from the list of callbacks. And that's basically it. Not only does this make the code more descriptive with clear method names, it also adds another layer of security to your code. If the input action asset is changed, you'll receive compilation errors that you'll have to fix. And just for good measure, let's test this in Unity one last time. Running, jumping, flying, everything works. Lastly, let me show you how this approach makes working with input systems safer. Let's say I want to implement an attack. If I add a new action to the asset, the moment I save it, a recompilation is triggered. And immediately you can see an error in the console. This error says that I'm not implementing the interface correctly. Basically, the interface now has an additional method that I need to implement. But unfortunately, it's not hermetic. I'll receive errors for additions or for any renaming in the asset, but the moment I delete an action, the compiler will be silent. My code will expect something, but that something will never happen. So now you know how to generate C# wrapper for your input action asset, work with actions without relying on strings, and use the generated interface to make your code cleaner and safer. And we're not done yet. Far from it. Rebinding, processors, interactions, and more still ahead. Plus, I've got plenty of other Unity content in the works beyond the input system. If this was helpful, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay in the loop. Keep on creating, and I'll see you in the next one.